the top.
Roll
Beginnig.
call.
Hi there.
Dark is now just plain Discord to Dark.
Discord, Dark Shell, Brain Supreme.
Torrent.
Huh?
Roll call.
Oh,
Oh,
hi.
sorry. Hello. Me. Tinder.
Hello.
And Sideline.
Up.
Welcome to Widdershin Teachings. Hopefully this will go on for, longer. Don't die. Looking at Squish Team.
Hello, 6 hit point people.
Hi.
I have 9 hit points. That makes me like super tanky in this group.
Also, note by the way, I can see like certain people's health bars, but not everyone's.
Oh, I will fix that whenever. Just like write in chat who you can't see, and I'll go through and fix them as we do shit.
I can see mine, Ippos's, and no one else's.
Okay.
I can see mine and Rusty's.
Yeah, I can see mine, Ippos, and Rusty.
I'm the special one everyone can see.
You might need to go through everyone, more or less, except Ippos.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. But we start with you actually on your way to Soul Ridge Academy. Oh, do I have a little nice thing? So, as we begin, you're all on one of two carriages, which have been making the long journey from Tolvern, along with some of your other fellow students, though not many. A short human girl has spent most of the trip reading a treatise on Atlian political theory. A half-orc has been asleep under the seats. Well, you assume asleep, judging from the fact that he's snoring. A statuesque person has been talking to a tiefling who looks ready to run the next leg of the journey, and a very sick gnome is trying to blot out the world. And of course, that begs the question of, who are all of you? We'll start from the top of the Discord list. Oh, who wants to go first, rather?
The deathly silence that always accompanies that question.
Okay, everyone pick a number between 1 and 5.
I'll go first.
Okay, so, namely, who are you, and what have you been like on the trip? How's it been for you?
Well, what everyone witnesses is a white-haired human teenager, 13, 14? Looks pretty young. Though definitely not small by any means. Definitely someone who's quite athletic, definitely used to manual work quite a bit. Thanks quite a bit of muscle for his age. He's been very energetic, very talkative to more or less everyone, and also just kind of in awe constantly as the car has been traveling, almost like having his head like out the window, staring at everything we've been passing, like he's never traveled before. He probably hasn't. He also happens to be, notably, has a hammer which is taller than he is, besides him. So that's notable.
Yeah, you've definitely gotten a few warnings to not drop that during the journey. These carriages cost money, kid. You can't just repair every hole you put in the floor.
Yeah, it's a good like 6-foot tall hammer, and he's only like 5 foot something. On the lower end of 5 foot. But yeah. If anyone's asked, he's introduced himself as Wolf. But he just seems very cheerful. Maybe a bit naive.
So who's next on the chopping block? Or shall we pick numbers?
I'll go next.
Sure.
In complete separation from Wolf, the small halfling, who looks particularly small for a halfling, has been sitting relatively quiet on this trip, and she has to take up a few more spots than normal as she has what appears to be a service animal, which actually is labeled as such. It's got like a vest on. However, the service animal is made of clockwork. in his machinery and ticks quite relatively loudly. She's fiddling with something in her hands and looks like she's has a crap load of stuff. She has just bits and bobs and things. Uh, Another thing noticeable about her is that she has pale skin. However, she's also has blotches of blue on her skin, as if it was dyed or just as a different coloration.
So our small halfling joins the carriage. Any takers for his next, or do we roll a d3?
I suppose I can if no one else wants to volunteer.
You'll have to go eventually.
I know. I don't like volunteering for things. You know this. I just sort of go and do things and deal with the consequences afterwards.
That's true.
But yeah. So for most of the carriage ride, there's been a strange little creature on top of the carriage, because Ipos know like the big people inside carriage who have big sticks and looks far too eager to use big sticks on poor little Ipos. Anyone with any form of like, I believe it'd be knowledge arcana, would be able to just immediately identify him as a kobold, small, blue, and terribly annoying. He spends half the trick, half half the trip trying to make people do silly things or doing silly things himself or talking to whatever is around him. Mostly animals. He seems to enjoy talking to animals more often than people. Because animals don't carry big sticks and like to hit him with big sticks. Well, apparently anyone can recognize them if they can make a DC 10 untrained.
Yes, they're fairly common.
I don't know. I don't look up the DCs for these things. That's the DM's job.
It's worth noting that while Ipos may be a bit more afraid of the larger occupants of the carriage on the journey, nobody's really went out. Well, actually, one person has went out of their way to interact with him, and that would be the sleeping half-orc. But it's up to you how far he actually gets in attempting to talk to Ipos.
I mean, there's only so many places Ipos can run away to at the moment, so he can talk. Depending on the topic of conversations, depends on how much talking actually gets done. But he can definitely be talked to.
I mean, if Ipos seems kind of skittish, the half-orc backs off and kind of just seems to leave it be. Perhaps later, but maybe you have a friend.
Yeah, just big person.
He certainly falls under that category, and you do notice that he has a quite large, what appears to be a great sword. So
Big person with stick bigger than Ipos is. Ipos only 3 foot tall. Ipos very small.
It's an understandable fear.
I think his sword's probably twice the size Ipos is.
Much like the hammer.
Yes.
That leaves Team Squish on the red blanket. Bigby, do you want to go next?
We're not super squishy, but yeah, sure.
You're really scratchy.
Sitting near the front of the carriage, there's a very... The best word to describe him is pompous-looking person. It's average height and just sitting there reading a book, looking a little annoyed at everything. However, he is dressed in incredibly fine clothing with jewelry adorning himself, and if anyone looks at his hands, he'll see that he has a signet ring with an SV monogrammed onto it. He has actively made an attempt to ignore anyone that has tried to talk to him, just sitting there trying to read his book.
You might have a little bit of company, but also largely not talking to anyone else, of a short human girl who's reading some kind of political treatise, you think it was? But she'll kind of just form, like, a voting block with you of, don't talk to us, please, we're busy.
Perfect.
Strength in numbers.
She's sort of there, but not really talking there. Just there.
And that's fine.
It's like when you're in a large group of people and nobody's talking, it makes you more likely to not start talking.
Yeah.
Erin would likely associate herself with that group.
Not the pranks loving group.
You will get a
Meanwhile,
mild look of disdain as if you get near, so.
Well, she does smell of
Only for a
oil
second.
and ozone,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, only for a second he'll scooch over a little further and go back to reading.
then meanwhile, as Wolf's like sticking his head out the window, he suddenly kind of tilts it upwards, sees the kobold on the roof. Hey, you okay?
Yes, it was fine. What do you want? Sort of leans over and pokes at you.
Kind of wriggles his nose a bit. I don't know. Just thought I'd say hi. Why are you on the roof?
Yes, silly little person, man. Not even know what he want.
I'm very nice.
Nice. I'm nice. I'm all sorts of nice. You just silly. You don't know that.
Want a snack?
Oh, what you got? What you got?
As I'll kind of reach up with an arm and kind of offer out what's probably slightly equivalent like jerky.
Sort of pokes it with a spear, and then picks it up and just sort of sits there in the middle of the roof, gnawing on it.
Wolf grins and will return back to the cart.
Yum 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 yum.
Wolf doing the exact same action inside. Which now everyone's noticed, he's been eating a lot of snacks on this trip. You're surprised he isn't big around the waist.
Considering how long the trip has been, you'll probably, eventually have a few people asking, like, hey, you got any spare?
Yes.
The answer is always yes. He's been eating for 6 weeks straight. Yes, he still has more.
Jesus Christ. Also,
Like,
I should read.
I'm going to be converting the rest of my gold all into trail rations.
Torm, want me to read yours out, or don't know if you're.
He just dropped again and back again.
Yep.
It's for in chat.
So would you like J-Mac to read it out for you?
Yeah, probably, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to hear your replies, so I do believe you'd be able to hear me.
Yeah,
So,
we can hear you fine at least.
alright, I guess I can read it.
Yeah, we can hear you
So-
until you actually drop.
Yeah, no, that when I drop, that's me manually disconnecting and reconnecting. That's not an
Ah,
automatic thing.
right.
Yeah. So, a slightly odd person whose sex can only be guessed at even by trained eyes happily sits talking away with anyone who would listen. They appear to have unnatural hair and eyes that look more like fire, actual fire, than anything natural. Meanwhile, their skin is pale but pinkish. However, a small skunk can be seen in their bag if you look closely. It's hiding away, trying not to be seen, and alarm anyone that there is a skunk aboard, which anyone who is familiar with a skunk knows exactly why people would be alarmed that there's a skunk aboard. I suppose I can also continue with when Ash was, picked up at the carriage, there was what appeared to have been a celestial outsider with them. But they disappeared. And now it is just Ash and their skunk sitting in the carriage. Ash is seemingly quite friendly, and I'm not entirely sure how many people necessarily want to talk with Ash, probably because of the skunk. But anyone who does listen generally finds them cheerful. And if anyone asks Ash about their gender, they're not going to get any kind of straightforward answer. Usually answering it with another question, such as, which do you think I look like? Or, what do you think I am? And then just simply laughing despite whatever the answer might be, or whatever guess has been presented.
And thus we get the game for this week. Guess the sex.
Hey, what's its name? Wolf just kind of Wolf kind of quickly questions, looking at the clearly leaning at the skunk, round at the skunk.
Their name is Bluebell.
Hi, Bluebell.
It just kind of waves a paw.
Wolf
Yeah.
waves back.
Yeah, Ipos would have probably been more likely to talk to the skunk than to Ash. And he does at length about any random shit that crosses his mind. He doesn't seem to understand anything that Bluebell does back, but he just talks and talks and talks.
Wolf, meanwhile, is happy to speak with Ash. Someone who's not being all quiet on the trip. Want a snack?
Do you have any berries?
Rummagers bag. Pulls out a small hand.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, everyone else in the party is just going to be just silent, morose people.
I mean,
Ash is very much the opposite of morose.
Ipos is very much the opposite of silent.
Silence talks, but only to the person who's reading the political treaty next to him.
Yeah, Ash, come over here. We can talk together while everyone else is being silent. It's fine.
Fine, I'll just stay up on the roof. No.
I mean, if you want to come inside.
No, too small in there. Too many people, too many big things.
I can climb on the roof.
I mean, if you want to climb on the roof, just don't fall off, silly boy.
I'm not silly. You're silly.
No, Ipos not silly, you silly.
No, you silly.
No, you silly.
This may continue for a while.
Yeah, it will.
Meanwhile, Ash is just watching bemused at the back and forth.
Apparently, the two of them having about appropriate mental ages to each other.
I mean, to be fair, what was his age? Yeah, Ipos is 12, so yeah.
Versus Wolf being 13. They could literally be in the same class.
Yes. And they probably are, conveniently.
You've guessed it, the final ploy. But overall, the journey's been pretty pleasant. The country which you're travelling through, Nifsa's, well, pretty picturesque for the most part. A lot of the countryside is untouched, and it's largely been trails rather than roads that you've been travelling on, much to the dismay of some as you watch the gnome kind of lean out one of the windows and just go, ugh. And thankfully for him, and perhaps some of you also, it appears that your long journey is coming to an end. The horse pulling the carriage trudges through a valley, you see up ahead.
Hey, Mac, can I interrupt you
Yes.
for a moment?
Go ahead.
I cast Remove Sickness on the gnome. For 10 minutes, they no longer have motion sickness.
He just kind of like fishes a weak thumbs up toward towards Ash and continues to lean. You get the feeling he perhaps knows this is only shortly lived, so might be making the best of it. Yes, unless anyone else has anything else they specifically want to do during the journey, up comes an old castle. From what you can see as you get closer, there's a number of buildings directly in front of the place, but also just kind of dotted around the landscape. If you were to take a guess, perhaps this is where some of the faculty live, perhaps even students, or perhaps just people of the land. The carriage driver gives a shout as you start to transition from trail to cobblestone, it appears, and most of the carriage kind of lets out a sigh of relief as it appears that you'll be here soon.
Cue my head popping up the window again.
That's fair. I get to wait. Did I transition yet?
I am right.
Not transition yet.
Nope, that's not it. Damn it. Shit. You work on it.
You try to get. You try to like avoid the cadminess.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm trying to program my brain.
But you've done it for a long time now. It must be easy to slip into.
It is. It really is.
Okay. You gonna say something, or are you still mentally working on that
I'm still
accent?
working on it.
Okay, fine.
Ah, finally we've reached it. I was wondering how long we'd be stuck in the smelly carriage.
Silas will kind of get like a very solemn nod from the tiefling who's had to weather probably every chatty person at one point and looks to be having no part of it. I hope we get separate rooms.
Indeed, it's been a long...
Yes, Ipos would have definitely tried to chat with the tiefling at some point, at length, simply because it's another scaled person. Yay, scalies!
Okay.
It's like it's almost like Ipos, but bigger and not quite as good, but almost as good.
Sort of. He'll definitely indulge Ipos's curiosities, but probably not for long. You get the feeling he's doing it just because you aren't the statue person.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Ipos will basically have to be shooed away from him at some point, or he'll just keep rambling in one unending sentence, going from topic to topic. He talks lots.
Someone might need to buy a bottle of spray water then.
Sad thing is, he talks, and he's quite good at talking with 9 diplomacy, but he's really bad at talking in common. If he was talking in Draconic, then it'd be a lot more, like, fluid, I guess, but in common it's very, like, broken.
Fortunately, a lot of people who can reciprocate with the Draconic currently don't really want to speak to you.
Yeah, that's not an issue. He's had to shout at weird tall people often enough to know to just go straight to common and switch to Draconic if they actually look like they may possibly know the better language.
The better language.
Yeah.
Oh well. But eventually, the carriages will pull up to the front of the school building. For those of you who already have your head kind of halfway out of the carriage, you'll see kind of standing in front of the old castle is a small gnome woman and a bird person? The more knowledgeable you will probably recognize this as a Tengu. The less knowledgeable of you will think it's a big bird.
Birdman!
Oh, big bird person. I wonder if he knows little bird I know. I hope not. I ate that little bird. I hope he's not mad.
A lot of people seem taken back by Epos, but that's probably to be expected.
Yeah, it's quite to be expected. It's not the normal race to be going to a school, and he seems to not have much of a filter between his brain and his mouth.
That's just students.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as it seems that the gnome woman, you think at least, she seems barely able to like contain herself as you start to like exit the as you start to exit the carriage, and she starts this kind of wildly clapping. Welcome, welcome, welcome! I'm so glad all of you are finally here. Is that all of you? That should be, yes, that's all of you, I think. As probably the last of you are kind of exiting the carriage, and they kind of just wheel away. You believe you're going to your dorm to go deposit your stuff.
Finally, dorms. Rooms. Whatever they have here. Dorms.
Erin gets her cane, and so she can go down the stairs, and then before she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she actually hops over onto Rusty's back and then trot over.
Ipos is very tempted to jump off the carriage and try and land on Rusty, but he decides better when Aaron looks like it actually needs the weird metal dog thing. Why would you have dog thing if made of metal? Weird. You can't eat that. That's weird.
Dog thing's not for eating. Don't eat dog thing. Dog thing's mine.
I not eat dog thing. A dog thing made of metal. Metal not tasty. I actually have no idea if it was actually a dog or something else. It's just what first came to mind.
It is a dog. It looks like a dog. It has the statistics of a wolf.
Right. So yeah, dog thing.
Dog thing, yes.
Okay. As the last of you kind of stand in probably a very awkward crowd, she starts up again after the conversation dies down a little bit. Welcome to Soul Ridge Academy, my pride and joy. I am Restavie Reedwalker, your headmistress, teacher, and hopefully friend for the next few years. Please follow me. We'll all get you a seat and we'll talk about what to expect for the following year. And she kind of just turns around, waves out her hands, and the doors to the front of the academy just fly open. And Jesus, she is fast for someone who has such short legs. The
Blood. Yeah, all right. She sort of. Erin sort of taps on it. Rusty's, and Rusty keeps up pretty quickly too.
the Tengu Kev shouts out, "You don't have to go that fast."
Moreover, to match it, Wolf with his large hammer on his back and his rather full backpack, also just seems to blitz off at far faster than anyone else can go by foot, except for the dog.
Silas sighs and just starts walking casually, towing his case behind him.
Yeah, so most people match what Silas did, not what the small energetic barbarian and mecha horse do.
I think it's a race between Mecha Horse and the small energetic barbarian.
But you quickly find that, unshockingly, the corridors of the schools aren't designed to, allow multiple people to run at like the same breadth at once. Also, maybe a little bit slippy. You do kind of see the headmistress kind of slow down as she like almost like slips on her ass once, but then she kind of just keeps going. But eventually, you'll follow her to what appears to be an auditorium. From what you can see, there's about maybe 200, 300 seats. But currently, we're only going to be taken up by you and the rest of your classmates.
Oh, is it the sorting hat time?
Yes, it's a sorting hat time, except there's no sorting hat.
Oh.
Mostly because I couldn't be bothered to think of a sorting hat sort of thing.
Sorting boot.
You get the sorting handkerchief, you have to blow into it. As you kind of start to take your seats, you do see that there's other faculty members kind of standing up at the stage, with Steve kind of standing in the middle. Is then I'm going to be particularly fickle and, sit somewhere weird, or you're just going to go with the main clump in the middle?
Middle.
In clump, but forward
Middle.
Mm,
in front of everyone.
main clump. Can I hide in main clump?
I'm front of the main clump because I'm short and can't see.
That's fair.
I'm
So you're
also
not joining
short
the
and
wonder.
can't see, but I don't care. I hide.
So nobody's joining the back row. Got you. But for now, it's kind of just a very standard introduction. Some of you who are kind of scouted out by certain teachers, or might recognize some of them who are up there, but she kind of just goes through all of them, introducing, for instance, Vitengu, who's known as Shezi. You'll learn that he is your the student representative for you this year. I will reveal the rest of the faculty members, but I'll do that after this. The more important thing that comes up is she kind of starts waving her hands, and you kind of see little spurts of magic flying from them. Now, I have a very important and exciting announcement to make. As some of you may already know, I lead the Applied Adventuring class, which I'm afraid is mandatory. But we have usually at the start of the year, we have an exercise. Some may call it an exam, but you shouldn't fail. Typically, this happens in the basement of the building, but we're going to be having a little expedition this year. And she continues to wave her hands as she conjures on. Oh, a message. I'll reply in a second. She conjures an image of what looks to be a city, but it's as if someone kind of just like picked it up with a spoon, flung it in a direction, and it landed in like a big mess of metal. Some of you might have already read the student syllabus and know what is coming up, but in 4 days' time, we will be taking an expedition to what is known as the Wandering City of Anakapur. It's an old beast from some faraway corner of the world, and we're very lucky. It'll be passing by here very, very soon. She kind of like looks very glad and kind of just stares into the student crowd. There's some kind of grumbles like, what?
Erin looks
Already?
pretty nervous about that. Doesn't seem not familiar.
Ippos looks completely oblivious to everything. He has no idea.
Headmistress,
Yes, you with the hands.
we have just arrived. Why are we going to? Why are we going somewhere already?
This is kind of where a kind of older looking man with kind of grey hair kind of just sighs and kind of like scoots her to the side. I'm afraid Headmistress Restive is very eager for now. Currently, this is not as. Keep it off your minds. You'll have your current induction, and then she will get onto it in her own class time, Restive. It's not currently an issue. Should any of you have further questions, you'll find the student faculty building with attached to the school. Restive kind of looks a little bit bashful, but no, she's it's whatever. It's her school. She does what she wants. But she'll go. Any more questions?
What time was it?
You would guess about 20 to 10 in the morning. 9:40.
Oh, okay. Um, damn it, nope, still don't have the accent. Basically, Aaron's gonna ask like where accommodations are.
This is where the student representative, Shezi, kind of comes up to front and says, "Okay, you leave, Headmistress, go." And Restive just kind of like walks off the side, and he says, "Okay, for the rest of the day, I will be leading you to your accommodation, and there are a number of events on campus which should help to get you familiarized with the place. Headmistress likes to waste no time in talking about her classes. Let's see. Class 1A. If you sit over there, and he starts to kind of direct you into your separate classes. After he's done that, it takes kind of a few minutes as he talks to the others, and he eventually comes to your class, which, oh, would you have guessed it, includes all of you. Okay, hello students, your dorm is the One Storm. You'll find it located on the top right section of campus. It's very easy to find, don't worry. There's a large signpost with a stylized wand on it. You should find that the possessions which you've already sent ahead or left with the carriage should be put into your assigned rooms.
As soon as he says that it's to the top right, Ipos looks left.
I'm sorry, not in here. You'll find it outside the school building.
He just looks more confused.
I thought they had
A-
to pass a
Ash
stability
w-
exam before they got in.
Ash will say in Draconic to Ipos exactly what he needs to know.
I mean, Ipos understood everything. He understood that, you know, everything that was said. He just like looked the wrong way.
Shizzy kind of just looks to I've forgotten what your name was. Aaron? Yes, sorry.
Wow.
And he looks
Great
at you and
student
says,
rep.
You were taps face. You were the I know who you are. If you could you stay behind to talk to me before you leave?
Yes, of course I can.
Oh, you're in trouble already.
Not in trouble. Have you know?
All sorts of trouble.
Grabber.
You're in trouble.
The dog creature just picks up one of its back legs and sort of kicks Ipos slightly.
Yeah. You behave, silly dog.
I can do that.
Thank you. And yes, if someone would be as kind to help direct our young master kobold here to the dorm along with you, that would be grand. I believe your older resident for this year is Lee. You'll find her likely in her room, and she'll be able to guide you to your rooms and to your possessions.
Okay. Well, I believe you all should go on. Ah, shit. Fuck. Damn it. You need practice.
Take your time.
Ah,
There's no rush for an accent.
you all should go off ahead. That's still not right. Fuck. All right. She's basically waving the other group on.
Yes, I need to speak with young Mr. Safling here. If any of you have further questions, I'll talk to you after I talk to her. But largely, the others who are with you filter out.
Ipos just turns and starts walking. I'm not. I don't know if he's going in the right direction or not, but he's just walking.
There's two exits to the auditorium. There's the one you came in, and there's the one to the other side.
Right.
I would,
The other side, then.
I would like to have Wolf steer the kobold.
I mean, the kobold is heading towards the other side one because he didn't come on through any dormitories to get here, so they must be that way.
We're going to be steering the kobold.
Aw.
I know what it is. J-Mac, your accent's throwing me off.
My accent? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great start of the GM to say you've got a problem with them.
Can't believe this racial profiling. Ugh. It's not even
I
racial.
keep trying to fall into your accent instead of what I'm trying to do. And it just blends, and then Cadme gets thrown in. It's great.
It's a big salt and pepper shaker of accents. But yeah. So unfortunately, Aaron is required to stay behind. Is anyone else staying behind, or are you all leaving?
Nah, I'm sticking with the group.
Silas is quick to go to his dorm
That's fair.
because it has been a long trip and he needs to freshen up.
And as said, Ipos is walking.
Oh, Lord.
What?
It's Meech.
It's fine.
Yes. As the rest leave, Shizzy kind of looks to Aaron. I believe there was some it was a strange requirement for you. He kind of like searches his body. He has like a lot of tiny pockets, and he kind of searches. No, not this one. This this one, and he unfolds this piece of paper and says, "Ah, yes, you came with a machine of some sort."
Looks down at it and looks back up.
It's kind of been sat on it the whole time.
This one seems to indicate it's not your personal service companion. He kind of just hands you the note, which says Spell Lab 17.
Okay.
I think you're supposed to go here at some point. Lee should probably know more. She is your coordinator for this year. I'm more general student oversight.
Right.
Why do I have that? Anyway, you should probably catch up with the others.
Okay. She'll turn and quickly catch up with the rest of them. She's quick.
You know. As for the others, it's very much not hard to find the dormitory. You leave the school, you take a right, you take a left. Which leads me to showing off the dormitory.
Ooh, we get a transition.
We do.
Ooh.
Do I have everyone's token here?
Oh dear, there's a big map here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may or may not have forgotten how human proportion sizes work, so rooms might be a bit bigger or smaller than they really should be, but it's fine. We just didn't skimp on construction costs, it's fine.
I mean, roughly speaking, a bed should be probably what? I mean, it should be just over a tile big. Technically 2, which is what we normally put it as. So it's not too bad, actually.
You do have other students that come with you, but I'll reveal them as they become relevant. Yes, feel free to explore.
All right.
Actually, I should have hid this.
Wait, which bit are you hiding before I look at it?
Just the top bit, it's just a cleaning
Oh.
closet.
Oh, right.
It's just for
It
random
says
reasons.
it's only a cleaning closet.
Right.
It's only a cleaning
Mhm.
closet because there's
It's
like
a murder
this is a lot
closet.
of, it's just like this is a lot of empty space. It needs something in it. Epos, as you walk into this room, it appears. Well, you don't really have the concept of a cloakroom, but you see like there's a lot of cubbies over here. There's a few benches, and there's a coat hung up on one of these racks.
Ipos starts rummaging through the cubbies.
You find a pair of red shoes.
Ooh.
These appear to be dyed leather.
Ooh. Are they my size?
They're absolutely not your size. You could like fit most
Aww.
of your arm in them.
Oh. He sticks his
Okay, maybe not
arm
much.
in, shakes his head, and puts them back.
Notably, the rest of you who walk past this, you'll hear commotion kind of coming from this room. You also notice that the door has like a cat flap.
Hmm.
Uh, Aaron, Ash, as you kind of walk past. Wait, hold on. How do I get you off of the grid?
You can hold Alt.
Right, yeah. You see a tiny little doll run past. You would imagine it made that noise if it made any noise at all. It appears to be holding a pair of scissors and running very recklessly.
Shouldn't run with scissors.
Is that a construct?
Give me an engineering. I believe that's the correct roll, right? Yeah.
For me, it is. Normally, it's actually something along the lines of Arcana.
Ah. Yeah, that's definitely a construct. It appears to be kind of like a doll. You imagine one of the sorts that are kind of like filled with sawdust, very kind of cheaply made. It doesn't appear to be having any of the issues of being cheaply made, though, considering that it's running and with a pair of scissors.
Fetch. Aaron looks down at Rusty. And Rusty's going to attempt a grapple check on the construct.
As you kind of do
It
this, a head sticks.
begins.
Yeah, go ahead and make yourself a grapple check. As you do this, a head kind of sticks itself out of the door and goes, "What's up with? Oh, humbug!"
Humbug.
We'll find out. Admittedly, you're trying to grapple something that's tiny, so I don't think you're going to have that hard of a time. Yeah, no, you very easily scoop up the tiny doll, and or Rusty very easily scoops up the doll in its mouth.
And does what all dogs do
Well,
with dolls. Shreds it.
Aaron
Oh,
turns
you
Rusty
all do
around,
it.
and Rusty's like, his full golden retriever is not hurting whatever's in his mouth; is just holding it there.
I really should have kept an ear out for you. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Humbug's a bit nasty.
Rampancy going on? You wouldn't say. Perhaps. Rusty, give. And Rusty basically puts the construct in whoever this person's hand is.
She'll accept it. Oh, is this all of you? She kind of peeks in the hallway.
Pass.
Lee, I presume.
Yes, that would be me. I am the coordinator for your dorm, which is mostly the case of keeping it clean, making sure nobody breaks anything, and helping cook.
Oh, good.
I'm
You'll
gonna
be able to point me towards my room then.
I'm gonna go look for the kobold.
Well,
Oh yes, there was a kobold, wasn't there?
well,
Yeah,
I think
some of
you're
those
on the
sweaty
well
ones.
track to making sure things are broken to begin with. So I don't know if you would actually have any more of these, would you?
I technically do, and Humbug knows not to break anything, and if he breaks anything, he has to fix it. So Humbug, the little doll in her hands kind of just raves about, and she kind of just chucks him down again. He runs off somewhere. Just give me a second. I
Would
shall
give him
fix
his
your
pension for
goats.
scissors? I don't know. Shit, accent. Fuck. I gotta get this right. I had it right for a little bit, then it's gone.
You'll get there eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, don't
Today's not
worry
that
about him. He he just kind of looks very weird, and that is not mostly my fault. It's partially my fault.
mostly, or
He was a gift.
ah,
Yeah. Yes, if you'd please, can you go sit? Also, shh. secretly exchanging tokens. If you could sit in the comm room, and I will get you all. I'll go get the catalog and see where your rooms are.
Do you have any servants around to make tea then? We're going to have to wait.
She kind of like puts two fingers together and whistles, and little buddy boys run out. This is mint. This is chocolate. They should be able to do most basic tasks you ask of them.
Ah, good. Okay, arcane constructs are make decent servants anyway, so...
Humbug, mint, and chocolate. And why did you just steal my token and put another token down?
Because this one has the fixed bars.
Well then, you two here. Make me a pot of tea.
The one to the right kind of gives a little salute. Runs off.
Good,
Meanwhile, elsewhere.
obedient.
Hey, Tinder.
Hmm.
Suddenly, as if it was busy rummaging through. Dorm lady's here to get our stuff, and Wolf tries to grab you to drag you to the room.
Yeah, unfortunately, I rolled a 1 on my perception to hear Wolf coming. So Ipos was thoroughly distracted, elbow deep, rummaging through the coat that was there, when he suddenly grabbed from behind. Just, I don't do anything! What?
and I start walking you this way. Just dragging you this way.
He's sort of...
Dorm
He's
lady,
he's
Dorm
not
lady, talk to us.
he's not kicking and screaming, but he is, like, fighting to break out.
Just makes Wolf want to squeeze harder.
I don't know if that would be enough.
Beats my CMD actually, so...
He breaks out. So takes a few steps away, turns, realizes who it is, and sort of shakes the blunt end of his spear at Wolf. It's like, you no sneak up on me like that. That naughty. Next time you get big zappy zap.
I didn't sneak up, I shouted at you.
You quiet shout. You quiet shout so you can say you shout, but Ipos no hear. So you sneaky sneak.
You want me to shout louder?
Yes.
Epos, store manager wants to talk to us.
Let's see how. No, I won't do that.
Whilst Wolf and Epos are kind of having their little
Banter.
tiff, yeah, I guess, more people kind of file in.
Oh, come on, Ipos. Grabs you by the wrist and starts dragging you. Remember, I have 40-foot speed.
No, you silly boy. Silly boy is sort of digging his heels in and tugging back. I can walk. You know drag.
The others will probably hear the commotion.
Should we get an adult? I am an adult! Except I'm really not.
I'm an adult.
Are you? Are you really?
I'm an adult.
Yeah, Wolf will release you at this point. He's not going to just dump you on a couch or something. But...
Ipos will immediately go and basically sit down in front of the fire.
Meanwhile, Wolf will just throw himself onto the couch next to Ash.
Despite being small, he's taking up maximum space possible, almost like touching the fireplace. It's like that thing cats do when they sprawl out and they just physically take up more space than is actually possible for them to take.
Fair enough. As we ever start to filter through, Silas, you'll notice one of the puppets kind of running, balancing a cup of tea.
Ah, thank you.
Bouncing, yet manages to not spill a drop.
Yeah, imagine it's very Disney.
That thing
Also,
where
it's not
like
really
it's that thing where the body's bouncing but the arms are staying perfectly still in the air.
We Everyone kind of quickly follows out with like a little plate with like sugar cubes and a small thing of milk. And they kind of just like stand in front of Silas.
Good, thank you. And he'll take the cup and take a sip.
What are those?
Servant constructs, apparently. They seem to be running around the dorm. Our dorm mistress seems to know about them, or of them. I don't know. Maybe she made them.
They're kind of creepy.
I guess you could say
Okay.
that, but
They're
I've seen
kind of
worse.
cute.
The small halfling sort of tilts her head and says, I suppose I could see that, but I hope I don't run into one of them when it's dark.
I don't mean to alarm you, but I already kind of did. Fuck! Damn it! That was southern shit.
I was thinking that was a bit
What are
too
you
southern.
Oh dear.
Is it
I
high
haven't.
noon already?
Dear.
Fuck! I might have to adjust. I don't know.
Take your time, it's no worry.
It's like
I'm
the
taking my time.
it's like the
This is gonna
first
take
hour
time.
of the first session. You can forgive yourself for slipping up.
We will eventually. Well, firstly, Wolf will get a little return, or they'll get a little wave from him, Headband Boy.
Hi,
Hello?
I'm Wolf. What about you?
Oh, I'm Okran. Which, da 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 da. Nameplate.
Haha.
It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. He'll kind of. And awkwardly kind of extend a hand over the couch.
I mean, I imagine basically at this point, Oscar's basically reversed himself on the couch. He's now like on his knees on the couch and had the hand over. He shakes it. I'm pretty sure Oscar's. I'm pretty sure Wolf still has his Earthbreaker giant hammer next to him as well, though, which is still. Which probably just sitting like right there next to the couch.
Okran doesn't seem to think it's weird. He kind of just like glances at the hammer and said, "You know how to use that?
Mm-hmm.
You're a bit short for it."
Nah, I'm fine.
Fair enough.
As Oscar's, as Wolf does, put out one hand, just pick it up with one hand into the air.
Yeah,
So you-
okay.
Then you kind of puts it back down, maybe with a bit too much force, but
You sense somewhere someone grimacing as you put it down.
look, it's just 14 pounds of pure metal. It's fine.
Speaking of grimacing somewhere, someone somewhere, Leo finally eventually come out kind of holding a book. Oh, hello. I assume that you're more of the class. Welcome, I'm Lee. I will be your building coordinator. Room, whatever. If you have any questions, my room is just over there. It's the one with the flap. And she'll flip open the book and say, "Okay, who wants to know where they're rooming first?"
Ippos points at the stinky man with the tea.
I think Silas would benefit from that shit. Benefit from having a little bit of prep work on his year of unpacking.
I caught 50% of that.
Yeah, I know. I've been fucking around. Shit.
It's fine. Nico just flips her book. Silas, you are the second room on the top floor. I believe you're sharing with someone called Princeton?
All right then. I'll be taking my leave and going to put my stuff up then. Hands the little poppet the teacup and starts dragging his suitcase on up.
The poppets just kind of stand there and watch you go. Well, they don't really watch you because they can't really see over the couch, but you can certainly go upstairs. And as you can see, the second room is yours. You get to pick which bed. Next.
The rest of us don't care, apparently.
I suppose I spoke up as fuck Southern again. Why does it always mix? I suppose I could go.
You are
Aaron.
Aaron. Let me see. She flips over a book. You're on the second floor as well. Will that be? She kind of looks to Aaron and obviously sitting on top of Rusty. Would you prefer one of the downstairs rooms? I believe we have one free.
I can't say. Perhaps you can wait a little bit on that. It's Cadney.
Just lean to the Southern, it's fine.
I can't. I suppose I could do Southern, but
Southern Bill. Well, most people should hopefully be open to swapping around rooms should it come up. But I'm just gonna very quickly go through everyone rather than going one by one. Wolf,
Oh,
you. I don't know if people are drawn to the map to dictate where, like, just to point out where their rooms are. But Wolf, you're the room 2 across from where Silas is. This one.
with
You're
Laszlo?
Oh shit! If his name's Ver,
Yes.
over on the GM layer.
No, they're
Okay,
there.
I'll keep those. Those are actually very useful, I guess. Yes, she
Yes,
says.
please keep those.
And the gnome next to her kind of puts his hand up and says, "I'm Laszlo. I suppose we're sharing a room together."
I guess we are.
You did notice him specifically as the very sick gnome on the carriage ride.
The two shorties sharing together.
You're smaller than me.
Oh, no, I big strong kobold. I big for kobold, you small for person.
Wolf just stands up and leans over you.
Doesn't matter, you small for human. I tall for kobold.
I'm still growing.
So am I.
Wolf just pats you on the head.
He bites your hand.
I'll start going upstairs as well.
Yeah, Laszlo doesn't really seem to care much for your little theatrical play.